We can share this with all the others. And then I got to make sure it's recording. Cool beans. All right. I think I got all my checks and balances. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the first Weekender call. Can you guys hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Not too loud. I got a different mic set up that I'm trying out on these calls. Does this sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And then there's Erin right there. We'll get her in. This is becoming my teaching day. So I taught yoga this morning at 6:30 a.m. and then I'm finishing at 7 p.m. tonight. So what's up? Welcome, Erin. I told everybody that we were gonna have you on mute, so feel free to join in or unmute or keep us updated on your baby so we can accommodate that.
Okay, Erin and I keep running into each other. We got to talking NBC about at the coffee shop totally randomly.
Oh my gosh.
These things happen.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see the little one. I haven't seen it yet. I heard all the stories from Grace. Oh, that's awesome.
You're muted, by the way.
Oh yeah, thank you. She just woke up, so she's talking all about.
Well, good morning, beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, babies.
All right, y'all ready to get started? Welcome to this first Weekender Collective calls. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Or ladies, guys is my pivotal word. I'm gonna change that through this collective. Number one, I'm just excited to have you guys here, ladies here. I'm gonna get through that, guys. The whole idea with Weekender is essentially just trying to get a bunch of people who want to get out of their 9-to-5 and build something meaningful through connection, through learning the patterns, because honestly, everything in entrepreneurship isn't this like magically you got to inherit it and know what to do. It's just the transferring of information from other people in different areas. And even in like a smaller community I'm in or a larger community I'm in, it's just like the amount of information transferred and what we're able to learn is so impactful. But it doesn't have to be from the person leading the community. It's more about the community coming together because it's association by proxy. As we're all together, we're also going through similar stuff at different angles. But having different angles, we're all able to essentially help one another through that unique perspective that we're living our lives through. So that's part of the power of bringing this together. And my biggest first thing I wanted to do was just quick introductions with everybody. I think some of us know each other, some of us don't know each other, but from the backside of Weekender Collective, I'm like, y'all should be collaborating together because everybody has a piece of the pie that can help the next person. And if you don't believe it, shoot me a message and I'll be sure to identify how you guys can help each other. But I'll get started. I'll create this brief introduction. I'm Chris. I'm here in KC. I think everybody here on this call is in KC. And what I want you guys to do is also like name what are you working on or what are you doing and what are you building. So specifically right now, I'm doing two things. I'm building my agency. My micro agency by Chris is growing and scaling at a rate that is insane and I wasn't planned for. So I'm learning how to hire editors, delegate work because I love selling. I love hopping on calls and I love marketing and promoting other people. And the editing tends to wear me out and I love shooting too. So trying to really focus on what I can do best and delegate the rest. And then also starting an online community that I, didn't plan. I thought starting it would be the hard part, but once you get it started, then I was like, a boatload of new problems arose. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's solve these. And it's been fun. So, and then the biggest thing holding me back at the moment is I kind of hinted at this earlier is I'm almost having to go through this ego death of perfectionist. I love to curate and make stuff look really good, but I'm also at the level where I've kind of been coaching other people on this too. Is like my 70% is better than other people's 99%. So I got to own that 70% and figure out how to get better at it because McDonald's doesn't have the best burger. They have the best system. And it's all about systems and figuring out how they work best. And aside that, I'm also having to learn how to plan for the first time in my life. I'm a Pisces sun and moon. Everybody here probably knows that if you watch my stuff. But it's like my instincts kick in and I've used it as like my gift. But now it's getting to the point where it's like it's only a gift if I can grow and expand with what I'm uncomfortable with. And right now it's planning. And I don't know if it's like fear of commitment that I'm struggling with. My brain just, even on a call before this, my brain just doesn't it really has a hard time understanding what to expect in planning. Like a buddy's like mentioning this, and that, and I'm like, dude, how do you like think of that? My brain doesn't even go there, and his does. But it's also like, and to what I mentioned earlier too, with delegation, it's like that's something I can delegate, but it still doesn't mean that I can't sharpen that skill. So those are my vulnerable shares. Who wants to go next? And I can also like give you guys the template of just simply name what you're building, where you're at right now, and what's the biggest thing holding you back. Do I got to pick somebody? We'll just go, Lori. Lori, you go next. I see you. You're next in line on my screen.
Oh, I am? Okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh God, I hope I wasn't muted that whole time.
Well, I'm kind of jet lagged because I'm just getting back and Delta delayed my flight like 3 or 4 times. And then at 1:30 in the morning, they decided to cancel. So I'm playing catch up. Okay, so I'm Lori Morgan, and right now I am owning that I am a breathwork facilitator. I have been facilitating for about a year now, and it's really stepping in and owning that. Right now I have been working on giving that medicine to myself so that I can share that medicine with others. But I have been in education for 26 years. And so the other part of this facilitation is coaching. My coaching started out one-on-one, and now it's kind of led into working with educators and that. And so that's kind of both sides. And I would say my block, is that what you said, Chris?
It will be, yeah. What's the biggest obstacle holding you back right now?
Obstacle holding me back.
What's in the way?
The biggest obstacle I feel like right now is I have been conditioned how it's going to look from 9 to 5. And I'm really trying to just lean into that vision that I have and know that it can look like that. And I don't quite know where the disconnect is for me right now, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it makes sense, but that's just kind of where I'm at.
I think I know what you're saying. Is like it's like the 9 to 5 lifestyle and doing everything opposite. There's so much resistance because it's not what you're used to, and it feels like so foreign. But even that's a good indicator on where to lean into.
Yes.
A good example too is like my dad is the most opposite person of me. And instead of like defying against him, I'll lean into like, if he's saying no, that means yes, typically. As awful as that sounds, it's just like the kind of the truth of it all. Mm-hmm. I think, Kaylee, did you have something you wanted to add into that? Or I wanted
to ask you, you said education. I was kind of curious what type, like what age and what area.
Okay. Well, I've primarily been elementary education. I did middle school for 4 years. My first journey through that was special education, primarily children with autism, neurodivergent. And now I'm a reading specialist. And so I work kindergarten through 5th grade. And yeah, so part of what I've been doing is mindfulness is kind of the open door, right? Because they can grab a hold of it. It's concrete. But what I've really been doing is working with nervous system, helping them to learn how co-regulation is so important in the classroom. And so that's another piece.
I was curious how you're bringing it to education. I felt like you were, so thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, Kaylee.
Yeah, and Lori, one more unique perspective too is I never got this before, but you said you've worked with kids with autism. Also,
Yes.
people who are highly sensitive, that's no different than spiritual entrepreneurs or people who really wake up into their gifts. So always keep that in mind too. It's like, it's always cool to see how we've previously done something and how we can stack it. Because even as a nurse, I don't help people feel better, but it's amazing what living a life of alignment and passion does to your health and how your problems fade away versus living a life of scarcity.
Thanks, Chris.
You are welcome. We got Allison next. Woo!
Hey guys, I'm Allison. I already forgot what the whole thing was, just like what I'm doing.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, what are you doing or what are you building?
Right now, what I'm building, kind of a multitude of things. I have always kind of been into like working with my hands. So back in like 2016, I started making dream catchers, and that kind of phased out. And then now I make gemstone bracelets. I make necklaces with gemstones. I also do some wire wrapping with crystals. I make wristlets. I've dabbled with like macrame. And I also got my Reiki 1 and 2 and a different type of energy healing certification. So in January, started that. I tried renting a space. That didn't really work for me. So I made a space. I'm actually in it right now in my home. And I've had a couple of return clients, and I actually just got a new one. I teach yoga every other Sunday at Breathe Yoga KC, and I do yoga sound bath, and that has kind of helped me continue to grow this. As per today, I just got this new client. I was like, oh my gosh, she's from class. And I was just so excited about it. But so those are the things I'm growing. Where I'm at most of my week is an ABA clinic. So I'm a registered behavior technician, and I work with kids with autism one-on-one. And I've actually been able, it's so interesting, the place that I work, we have this like, there's so many people that work there, but we all have these unique gifts, and we're able to utilize them where we are. And I've been able to go in there and do like midweek refreshers on Wednesday mornings to like give them guided meditation and a sound bath. And they just love it. And it's just really cool to be able to be at a place that allows you to use the things you're trying to grow and supports you in that. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. I got the energy healing certification in, I think it was February of last year. And like the month before I did it, I was writing out all the stuff that I wanted to do once I got it. And I'm already checking off so many of those boxes. So really exciting stuff.
Yeah, and then Kaylee, dope. Allison, thank you. Kaylee asked, what kind of yoga do you practice or teach?
I really love yin or restorative yoga because
That's my favorite.
that's what I teach. I do like 35 to 40 minutes of restorative mostly. And then we do a sound bath, and I incorporate the like guided meditation, the energy work throughout the entire thing. So it's just it's even relaxing for me. I love teaching it, and I love being a part of it because it forces you to slow down. It's just such a great thing to walk into and like have that time for you.
And what's the other type of energy healing? You said Reiki.
It's kind of all encompassing. It does. Jen White is the one who I got certified through, and it kind of is just more intuitive based. It's more like you're almost in this like deep, almost nap-like state. So almost hypnosis. It's a little bit of Reiki, because obviously we intuitively know where people are feeling pain or discomfort in the body if we really start to tune into them. So yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
All right.
It
Yeah.
sounds like it, but that's like the perfect concoction to pull it all together. It sounds like
Yes.
you're really building a personal brand, it sounds like. And it's like
Yeah.
you're the outlet that brings the singularity, but it's all your interests. So then you can talk through yourself of what you love instead of trying to sell this and that, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
awesome. So keep and a lot of my mentors, I'm like making them one rolls over in his grave now, but I'm always like, they were like, you need to focus on one thing, niche down. Like, I think that's an old kind of habit. And if you're
Yeah.
somebody who samples, you essentially learn a skill, you can't go any further and you want to keep going, but you can't, you come out, you do the next. And when you put them all together, you have such a niche that nobody else can like essentially replace you in, which is so valuable. So keep
Right.
sampling and doing what you love, honestly.
Yeah.
Lori also does restorative yoga with educators. What?
Cool.
Yeah, y'all are, I already see a nice little event coming out of this meeting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, Callie, you're up. Let's keep it going.
Hello, I'm
What?
Callie. I am a astrologer and also a bookkeeper for small businesses. So I just got certified in several numerology courses and am wanting to incorporate that, as well as just went through Reiki 1 and I'm excited to do Reiki 2. So I'm at a little bit of a pivot point where I have a lot of these new certifications, and because of astrology, and then you have numerology, which really are similar systems. They're just, numbers or symbols. And being a bookkeeper, numbers just speak to me on a totally different level. So I'm really wanting to incorporate all of it because they are different emphases in the different systems. So it is about having all of these different talents, and also Reiki, because as I'm reading someone's birth chart, that is such a pure time that you are speaking to in them. You are speaking to their infant energy, and that is a very delicate space. So to be able to have my Reiki 2 certification, where I don't know, this is just all things I'm thinking about incorporating in the whole experience. And then also, Chris, I created a also with me.so account. And so I'm going to be doing this as well.
Good.
And that would be more about updates on seasonal things and moon cycles, things of that nature.
Why don't you share what kind of astrology you do too? That is quite unique. I think you breezed over that.
I know. I am a sidereal astrologer. It's sidereal, potato. But essentially what it is it is 13 sign astrology. So the area in the sky where Scorpio sits, there is a constellation behind it. And so it just incorporates the difference there. And it is a separate energy. Death, sex, and taxes. Scorpio, then Ophiuchus is the cocoon transformation phase. So specifically, I highlight that area in your chart, which is also connected with your Chiron. And I read that system. As also, sidereal astrology uses the exact size of the constellations. So essentially, when you are in Gemini season, really, the sun transits these constellations and is bringing that energy. If you believe in astrology, that is what's happening. So it uses where those planets are naturally transiting as opposed to other systems which use different mathematical equations to decide the system. So it just uses nature, is essentially what it does. And some of those sun seasons, like Virgo, can be it's like 47-day season, where Ophiuchus and Scorpio is like 13-day season. And anyway, it's yin astrology.
Oh.
It's yin astrology, where the created masculine system that is established and is not moving with nature is the yang chart. And this system is connected with the cosmos and is ever evolving but the same. So it's the yin system.
And
the secret system.
and then general, like each sign is kind of pushed back one from what we're normally used to in Western, give or take.
Yes, because the beginning of Aries season changes a degree every 72 years because we do not live in a dead solar system. We're moving through this galaxy.
Yep.
So every 72 years, it doesn't occur. The beginning of Aries season does not occur at the spring equinox. It goes back. Yeah.
And then Callie hasn't talked about these either, but she's made some really cool personal artwork and journals to go along with her sidereal stuff, which I think, yeah, right there, which would be pretty cool with the community. And something I was sharing with her is like, you have the products. Now, if you build a community and find these people who are outside of Kansas City, then you can really just give them everything you need right there. And then you're just getting people to use the products, which is sometimes the harder part.
Yeah.
And then tell us, what is the biggest thing holding you back? And then Allison, we got to go back to you to answer that too.
Getting an online presence set up. I had my website and I need to rebuild my whole website. Yes.
What
So
about
that
just the community?
What's that?
What about just building the community?
Yeah, well, that's not holding me back because here I am.
Yeah.
I am not held back. I am in the flow to have that happen. But I would say creating my website. So if anybody has a recommendation of a good platform, I just renewed my domain. So a good platform, I could just build a really basic one. Then I can connect it with me.sm. So yeah.
Something that I'm doing with Weekender, since I want to create like a lockout, and with me has some limitations I didn't know about till I launched it on there. And so like my website, I redirect. So it used to be Weekender Collective took you to With Me, and then as soon as I close the doors, we redirect it back where it goes to a landing page for the next sign up. So you can always direct your website where it's actually taking people, if that makes sense. And I'll have to show you some examples of like landing pages that'll work really well for you, I think, because you might just need a landing page because it might be really fine tuning it to how to speak to people, how they're most receptive, and trying different versions of it rather than building a website all at once.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing I've ever done is built a website and then I was like, and nobody's going to it. Dang it. You know, it's kind of like the whole, like sometimes people get storefront locations because they're like, people will see it and they'll stop by. Social media works the same way. Like you can put up a post, you can put up an ad, and it attracts people the same as a storefront does. So Alice,
yeah, I feel like as long as people can just book an appointment, I mean, that's really what they need to do. So
yeah, exactly. And that's something that you can even host through the With Me too. I mean, because you got everybody there. It's just more getting people to that. That's so important.
I use Calendly to book appointments for energy healing.
yeah. I have Calendly. That's basically all I have right now. I had a website and it was connected to my Calendly, but then I need to build a whole new website.
And I think
so luckily I still have Calendly.
I think Calendly integrates into With Me as well. I think that was one of their perks. So, and they do have an integrations page that I'm still trying to figure out, but we can navigate that one together too. Allison, real quick, hit us with what's holding you back, and then we'll go down to Kaylee.
Okay. I guess a little something I'm kind of working through. Well, I'm working through a couple things.
Good.
Working through just like learning to trust the process and not force things and try to like, because I love the kids I work with, but my body cannot do much more of this. Like my body is like, no, we can't do this forever.
Yep.
So like I've tried to move on, and I've just gotten doors and doors and doors because there's something in this place I'm supposed to learn still. And there are things that I'm still getting to do with my gifts within this place. And I see it all the time. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. So I'm just learning to trust the process and like allow those little, as we were talking about earlier, the winks come through, and just grasping at those and seeing what comes of it instead of trying to force myself forward into something that might not be ready for me yet.
I was going to say something that kind of resonates with me, and saying that is like part of when I was a full-time freelancer, I jumped into it, and then I had to go back and get a job at Amazon. And I swear to God, the job at Amazon was the best motivation, because as soon as I clocked in there, I was thinking about every way to get out of there. I had motivation. And then when I get back home, I was grinding. And then magically, as soon as I went back full time, I lost that hustle again, because it was just like, I hated being there so much. It was propelling me rather than like, all right, let's figure out how to get out of here. It was like, oh, we're getting out of here ASAP and we're never coming back, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd say that trust is like the biggest thing, even like trusting myself. And then like on the other side of that, there's a little bit of fear still that I'm working through with like, am I going to be able to handle all of this? Like, I know I can. And it's been shown to me in plant medicine. It's been shown to me in my own energy healings. Just like I have the ability to stretch and be stretched so far. And I just have to trust that even if I'm holding a large group thing, like Lori and I do events together, and it's just trusting that people are going to show up and that we got this and that I can do this. And so, yeah, I'm just constantly I can feel myself becoming more and more confident every event, every energy healing session. So I think it's just a learning process, really.
Yeah, and always remember too, if you believe in it, opportunities arise, and if you lack belief, you get challenges and obstacles to help you believe. So
it's so funny, because I was just telling Adam last night that the last week or so I've been saying money is attracted to me, money always finds me, and then that bracelet sold yesterday, and then I got that energy healing session today, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep saying that.
Yep. 100%.
Universe is hearing me.
Yeah. Ooh, I love when that happens too.
Yes.
All right. So thank you, Allison. Thank you, Callie. Kaylee, down to you.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like most entrepreneurs, they were like, not liking their job, really felt this yearning. For me, it was more like a kick in the ass. Like I had this job for the last decade. I've been helping teams evolve the way they work in corporate, and I love it. I can make people's work lives more satisfying, work with new tech, love it. But then 2 years in a row of layoffs and long layoffs. So it was kind of like, okay, I was wanting to have another source of income and was trying to figure out what it was. So I felt like the kick in the ass. And 5 years ago, I really started seeing an energy healer. Before that, I was kind of like, oh my God, these woo-woo people are a little ridiculous. And then it's like, what do you know? I quickly become one. But but yeah, even when I was meeting with this woman, she was saying like, oh, in the next 3 to 5 years, you're like going to start working in healing. And I thought, well, that's so ridiculous. I'm working in software. That's not happening. She was right. I totally called it. So I've started exploring that. And so I've been calling myself a body translator or a subconscious sleuth. But for those of you who are familiar, I'm certified in the motion code, the body code, and the belief code. And it's been this journey of where I was imitating my teachers, but that didn't really feel right to me, because that when people do that, the client is very passive. When I'm coaching, like in corporate, it's very dynamic. I'm, just nudging, I'm creating the space, I'm empowering them. So it's like, okay, how do I make this where it's one, conversational, and one, and set two, empowering, because those are who I am and what's important to me. So in the last months, I've been doing that. Like, I've changed the name of my LLC. I've been really working on my messaging. So Callie, when you said you're working on your website, there's this book, Story Brand, I strongly recommend, because it really talks about how you speak to the customer on their journey and talk from their perspective. So that's helped me rebuild. I'll put my site in here. And but yeah, like I for a long time, I'm someone who reads body. So like I'll from the back of your head, I might be like, oh, I know what they're thinking based off what their body's doing. I'm not even seeing your face, and have learned to communicate with subconscious mind. So that's what I do. I help people get really clear on what their body is trying to communicate to them, and so they can take clear actions that are very custom to you and this season in your life. But there's some silliness to it. There's some no bullshit. And recently I've been learning that getting in nature is important. I've been walking with people in nature at first, and that's been profoundly important. And that was just something that kind of came through doing trades. And so that's something I want to throw out. It's not so much where am I blocked, it's more where am I looking for support from this community. And I would really love to do some trades with everybody where we do sessions and share our gifts with each other, and then offer each other testimonials. Another thing in Story Brand is it gives what are some questions you can ask people to help them give a testimonial that speaks to clients, because people tend to focus on the provider instead of their experience. So it helps guide that. And so that's what I would love to do. I'd love to do trades with one another and then provide testimonials for one another. That's where my head's at.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. That's a really good idea to really and that's part of the intra network is working off one another. It's a safe place. You can learn, you can test, you might find out stuff that you never would have thought of from somebody else's perspective, which is so cool. Yeah, you're doing a lot, Kaylee. That's what tech. So your job is software, and then your emotion code, body code, and what was the third one?
Belief code, and that's all under the kind of subconscious sleuth. But I was just saying how I wasn't really looking to do that, because I was really liking my job in the corporate space. I was one of the few people who was like, I love my job in corporate. But this is important too, and who knows, someday we'll put it all together. I don't know how, but
yeah. It sounds similar to my story. It was like one day I was like, I don't believe in that astrology crap. And then the next day I had I literally, my night was crazier than anything I've seen on ayahuasca. And I was like, what is going on? Am I going in a psychosis? The next day I got fired from my job, or I quit. And then I left a month later, and it was like, I could read astrology out of the blue. And I was like, cool. What do we do with it? Kind of like the divine plan activating against what your plan is, which is always fun to navigate. But it also it seems like you have a really good, you're leaning into it, you're exploring it. And I also like how you said you tried to follow your teachers, and you're like, no, that wasn't for me. And it sounds like you're really good at listening to your intuition. From everything that I heard you say there, was it's I don't know if you can even come up with stuff. It seems like your intuition is just pinging you when you need it, which is such a gift. And I'd say definitely lean into that.
Well, I feel very seen right now. Thank you.
You're welcome. And everybody, I was going to say this too. If you guys do have websites, I wanted to grab those from you all, because I do want others to go through websites of one another. Because like I said earlier, what Lori will see, what Allison will see, what Callie will see, what I'll see, when we put all those together, it gives you a really dynamic look that you essentially have to pay people a lot of money to go through and audit your sites for that stuff. So that's a really useful tool that we can use amongst one another. So thank you for posting your website. That was a great idea. That intuition. All right. And then Erin, are you able to share? Oh, make sure you unmute yourself. There you go.
Okay. I don't know how okay. I was sideways for a second.
You're good.
Our baby's asleep.
So we're gonna do what you're working on, where you're at.
Well, right now I'm kind of on pause a little bit. I'm on maternity leave for a couple more weeks, and it's been really nice to rest and not rush around. And I feel like it's just kind of given me a little bit of space to think about what I want to do with the remainder of my years here, And like even just as I'm listening to everybody talking, I have my brain's going in like a bunch of different directions, but my intention and when on the day that I signed up for this was to kind of breathe some new life into my crystal shop. So like back in 2019, I started Mystic Moon Crystals, and then 2020 happened, and I just started investing in inventory. And so now I like have a crystal shop, but I don't have a website yet. And I was doing pop-ups for a while, but I just, yeah. So I'm wanting to breathe some new life into that. And then the things that I learned in this about website and branding and building a brand was the thing we were texting about, Chris. I feel like I'm going to be able to apply that to a few different areas of my life. My partner and a good friend of ours and myself just got a 508c1A through the state of Kansas. And so really structuring the vision for that. And, we want to hold events and things, but it's really important to me that that avenue is not just about medicine, that it's about spirituality and connection to God, source, spirit, universe, whatever that looks like. So I would like to build a website for that and have like a lot of community building events where we have like, we would have like a Sunday service kind of thing once a week, or I think it's like at minimum once a month. So kind of depending on what that looks like, but yeah. And then, after having just had a baby, I see myself eventually like going into birth work somehow. And so I look forward to being able to apply all of these things to all of these different things that are going on in my brain right now.
I love it. And then what's holding you back right now? What's in the way?
I don't really feel like anything is holding me back actually. But I guess my with the crystal business specifically, it feels overwhelming. Like I think I mentioned, I kind of need an accountant, or Callie, a bookkeeper maybe. It's like some of the back end stuff has just gotten overwhelming, and then like when it comes to like making posts or doing sales and stuff like that, I get really critical of myself, and I get really critical of my photos and my setup, and that's not good enough, and I'm not even going to put it out. And I just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after enough days of doing that, I just kind of lost some steam. So
yep, I can understand that. Callie is a great resource for bookwork. She once did my books one year. And then
nice.
Another one in Basecamp, I created I can show you exactly what it is or send it to you in a text, but it's called Hurdler. It's an app that tracks my gas mileage, and then it's like Tinder essentially. So I swipe left and right for personal stuff goes left, business goes right. And then at the end of the year, I can send it to my accountant, and it spreadsheets out everything as long as I itemize it right. Nice. And that's where I think Callie could be a really big help, is how to itemize it. Because some stuff I kind of just put it in a bucket, and I got my accountant trained where I'm like, this is what it is because there's no other choice. But like, it's $9.99 a month. It does all the work for you as long as you get in it like once a month. And it's good to see like where you're spending money, where I'm overspending, how much money's coming in on slower months. It's a good reminder to be like, oh yeah, we're not in peak flow. Let's not spend peak flow, And then, man, if you need some content ideas for your crystals, I have been channeling all of them.
Okay, perfect.
I have one over there, and every day I'll pick it up and I'll be like, I'm feeling so lucky today. I have my adventuring, and you should purchase adventuring too if you want good luck. I'm like creating all these marketing videos for you in my head, and I'm like,
I love it.
Shoot. So
I love it.
That's when I always I don't think I've sold that perk a lot, but that I, as a content creator, a community I'm in, they literally drop this to us endlessly, and they're like, content is currency. When you can unlock content, you can unlock anything. So if we need to focus on content at any point, ping me, and I got more information and ways to kind of make it flow. Because it sounds like you're trying to do it all at once instead of like maybe one week just shoot content, and then that batches you for the month, and then that takes the stress off, and you'll pick up momentum. And then also I know your moon's in Virgo, so you're a perfectionist. So we got to get through that perfectionism. My soul is getting crushed on right now. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. Anybody got anything else? Cool. Peyton, are you there? Can you hear us? Hello? Maybe she's on idle.
Well, I have a question for Erin. Since I met you at Pop Crow's coffee shop, I'm kind of curious what attracted you there. Is it something to do with the community building, or is that connected?
Oh gosh, this is a great story. Actually, I'll try to make it short, but kind of like right when gosh, I don't even know, 5-6 years ago, I met my boss, and I'm going to say this, I'm pretty sure I'm in good company here, but I met my boss at a medicine circle, and we just connected. I was a bartender at the time, and he had the coffee shop, and we just connected about how similar the community of the shop is. You know, it's like you can go get a beer, drink it at home by yourself, but you go to a bar for the community there and to chat with people and make connections. You know, same thing with a coffee shop. And I don't know, probably about 8 months later, it just lined up, and he asked me to apply for the job. And I quit drinking alcohol about almost, it'll be 5 years at the end of August. And so I had been a sober bartender at the time, and kind of like calling in something that was in better alignment for me. And so we went through the interview process, and it felt really good. And I am still there. I'm on maternity leave from Crows. I don't handle any of their like branding or social media, really. That's all pretty much the owner. But I could always, utilize this in that realm as well. But yeah.
Oh,
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Paige, can you hear us? Are you, I see you, she's kind of dropping her Wi-Fi on and off, so I don't know if are you able to hear us? Maybe I'll shoot you a text. See if we can. Paige, you're up if you can hear me.
Okay.
There you are. Hey, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
and then she freezes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it looks like, if I had to guess, Wi-Fi issues. We might. Dang it, Mercury's pre-shadow phase. I don't know if you guys have all caught it, but I got people coming back who are circling back, and I was like, and I caught myself, I was like about to do this project, and I was like, this almost feels like a Mercury retrograde. And then I get on my phone, and it's like, I'm like, yep, we caught it. We'll see if she pops back on here. I didn't think about Wi-Fi being an issue in 2025. It's always the stuff that sneaks up on you. What's up? Paige, would it work if you turned off your camera if your Wi-Fi's bouncing in and out?
Yeah.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay.
Everybody.
Okay, so I am working on building my photography business, which I've been doing for like a few years now, but I've been going in and out of it trying to figure out like what I want to focus on. And I made the mistake of like doing weddings a couple years ago, and it really burnt me out because I don't like doing weddings, and I
like stopped doing photography at all for like a year. And so I'm just now getting back into it and like refocusing like what I want to do. And then I also am kind of you yeah, I love that everyone has like all of their like spiritual like practices, because I'm also like doing have like a want to do like pop-up like I do like bone readings and tarot readings and like bath spells and stuff like that. So I have that as well that I've been working on and want to do like pop up, and I have a website as well for that. So yeah, those are the things that I've been working on. That is still very much in the beginning stages, but yeah. And then what is holding me back? I think that a lot of it is, like I said, just like figuring out like the direction that I want to go, and also like putting myself out there, like believing in myself a little bit, just like the imposter syndrome of just like, I think that I have the ideas in my head, but like believing in myself enough to say, hey, like, believe in me, like kind of thing, is not something that I feel comfortable doing, like, because I feel like when you're your own business or whatever, like you kind of have to do that a little bit, like say, hey, like, look at me, like, please do, you kind of have to like put yourself out there, and I feel very uncomfortable doing that a little bit. And so you just kind of got to go out there and do it. And yeah, that's something I have to kind of get over and just you know be more comfortable with. So yeah.
Yep. I can completely relate to all that. And that's what I mean, that's like the one of my biggest intentions in creating this group is like, imagine like I had to do all that on my own and I didn't have the support. And it's like the more people that you're around that are going through that same stuff, like even I still struggle with it. I don't have that persona on social media, but it's like there's sometimes I'm like, that post is terrible. Nobody will like it. And they sometimes do the best to blow my mind, but just know you always got us here if you need some help, or even like your bone readings are so unique. Like that is such a unique thing. I think that even I think I ventured to your site when I was like kind of sharing this stuff with you about Weekender, and I was like, bone readings, that's sick. Like you don't see that anywhere. Like that's such a niche. It's such a novelty. And sometimes if you're in a business that isn't like mediocre or mediocrity that everybody's familiar with, and it's a novelty, like it takes a little bit longer to put out there, and it feels like people are rejecting you, but they're trying to understand you because it's something so new that it takes multiple times to put it out before people are like, oh, I get it now, because nobody wants to reach out and ask questions because they feel stupid in their head, but it's really not. Like we'd love them to ask questions, but if they don't, then sometimes we just need to create answer or put out content in multiple angles so that they understand us,
Well, I'd like us to challenge ourselves to video record our testimonials for one another, because I feel like that will help us get over the hurdle of being in front of the camera. Is like, it's easier to make yourself do it for somebody else. Yeah. Like just you're answering questions, but you're not talking about yourself. I guess you are talking about your experience, but I just like, you don't have to post it anywhere, but I think it would just be a good exercise for us to do.
Yep, I'm well ahead of you guys. I got something on my sleeve. Hey, do you have anything else more that you want to share, or was that everything?
Well, we didn't hear what type of photography you do like.
Yeah, are you there? Yeah, I definitely wanted to share a type of photography. Well, I imagine she'll come back here in a second. Yeah, her photography is really cool.
I was going to speak to the imposter syndrome because I went through that really hard in January.
Please do, because
yeah,
I mean, that's the
Yeah.
hardest thing, right? Like about what we have to do is
Because
like,
you're like breaking down those old systems and those old thought processes,
Yep.
all processes that
100%.
you kind of like had going on, and it's like you're in this weird limbo phase of like your old life, your old self, and what you're moving towards, and so it's like kind of confusing.
Yep, it's the ego trying to sneak back
Yes.
and be like, no, I want predictability. And then you're
Yeah.
like, no predictability. And
Yeah, something that's comfortable, and yeah, and that goes back to kind of what Lori was saying about the 9 to 5 and how it's you know what to expect with that, and I'm kind of used to that as well because
Yeah.
I've worked in the school system for years, and then even now I'm in a clinic that's 8:15 to 4 p.m. and so like I kind of know what to expect in my day, at least with the hours, not always with who I'm going to be with, but with the hours. So yeah, it's just peeling back those layers
Yep.
of the
No,
older you.
Yep. Hey, Peyton, we were going to have you tell us what kind of photography you did, if you can hear us.
Yeah. So I really enjoy just any like portraits, really just creative portraits, like working with individuals or couples. I've been working on building up like a boudoir portfolio as well. I worked on that today and I have a couple more next week. And then I can share my website as well so you can look through it. I really do just like anything.
I think that's a trend of the group is we're all really good at doing a little bit of everything, and then we'll pull it together to make it so unique that it's like irreplaceable. It is honestly like the coolest thing. It's the hardest thing to get through because everybody's like niche down, and you're like, I am the niche. I can't niche down. Which is cool. And I think I'm excited to see more of your photography work too. Like I haven't seen anything in a couple of years. I'd say 1 year at least. So yeah. I like the and your branding. I feel like you got like the bone stuff, the boudoir, like you got your own like I think you're already branding yourself, and I don't think you realize how well you're branding yourself, but it's such a unique style. That's pretty cool. So keep doing what you're doing, and definitely get some feedback from everybody here. Because that's the coolest thing about everybody here. Your businesses are I feel like they're more women aimed, and having a bunch of women around you to get feedback from is essential. And don't take some of my advice, but take more of what the women are saying too.
Ooh, I like the dark feminine in your images.
You got a Scorpio moon, don't you? Scorpio
I have
rising?
a lot of Scorpio in my chart, but it's Sagittarius moon. Yeah.
Gotcha. Is your rising Scorpio?
It's my
North node. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's cool. Yeah, Taurus sun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Taurus and Scorpio complement each other. That's cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. And then what did Lori say? Rebuilding websites. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Lori, you put your websites in there. Awesome. Okay, so that was everybody. We lost Erin. Hopefully she comes back. Thank you for sharing that, Peyton. Thank you everybody for sharing. That is I think that just hearing everybody shares, like I found out more about everybody than what I initially knew to some degree. Some of you guys I know pretty well that we've been working on stuff, but awesome. I think like I've had this intuitive idea circling, and I don't know if it's something that I help facilitate or you guys do on your own, but like I think it'd be pretty cool to host an event where we could do like astrology readings, sound bowls, breath work, body code, bone readings, like, and then I'd be just the one to shoot and market it with y'all, because I think that would be pretty cool. And that's one of my things that I was like, I kind of want to pitch that to them and see. So y'all are feeling that. Mercury is staging retrograde, so we'd probably have to get through the wobbles, and something like that would take like 30 plus days to market. But I think it would be a pretty cool idea. And I think it's pretty unique because then we're inviting, everybody here has 10 key connections. So that's like essentially 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That's like 50, 60 people that could potentially show up. So, and that's a lot.
I thought you meant with one another, but you mean each have our own like booth or station.
Yeah, or like create an event together where it's like, you know, like a mini retreat, maybe like maybe a 4 to 6 hour day, and everybody gets a 1 hour slot to essentially showcase what they do. It could be pretty cool, but I also agree, like with the inner network of like the community and stuff, like definitely like show each other. Something that I was gonna say was maybe we should do pods or find a partner so that we can kind of work with different people, but it's also really important to kind of pick and pull from people who are attracted to it and understand why they're attracted to it, and then also understand where the disconnects are.
Yeah, I think we need to make both happen.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's what anything that I post in the community is really just to drive engagement, because I know sometimes the hardest thing's getting it started, but I also knew like this call would kind of pull it together. And then I also like the plan, and we're kind of transitioning into this. I was just going to touch up on as you guys saw tonight, like the vulnerability is key. The more vulnerable you are in this community, the more that you'll get answers from everybody. And I mean, even from even in pulling this together, you guys have so much information that I'm trying to learn, because I have so much in my head I want to share, but I don't know to what level I need to share it, or some of the stuff that I overlook because I've gone so deep in it, I don't even think about talking to. Like Lori's got some really good questions on building marketing videos and shooting content that I'm like, what do you mean? And then I'm like, oh no, like I totally like, sometimes I share stuff and I skip over that because I'm like, everybody knows it, but I'm learning everybody doesn't know it. So there's so much stuff that I think we can learn from one another. So I'll definitely be driving the conversations in the community too. But guys, like put your stuff, ladies, put your stuff out there, share, collab, bounce stuff, and then always like I want to make it clear too, like why we're building Weekender Collective. As I mentioned, everything you ask is so important. So feel free to ask questions, shoot me text. As we grow it, the text probably won't be able to accommodate as well. But it gives me more of a chance to personalize stuff to everybody so that I can learn more as well. And that's such a fair trade that I just want to put out there early. But also, as we grow and scale this baby, it might change a little bit. So, but I never want to gaslight anybody, or if you do send a message and I don't get back right away, I'm probably swamped, but I'll get back to it. I'm really good at getting back to text messages, emails, not so much. It's with me the best way to communicate. So with me, I think it's the best way to bounce stuff back and forth, because because essentially, like if we're on social media, you get distracted, right? Like that was a big part of why I got the With Me platform, is like kind of like I shared stuff with Callie too, is like it pulls people in the market that you're trying to share stuff. So you can drop stuff in and it gets received very well. But then also when you're on the platform, you don't have all the distractions of inbox, the feed, like you're able to really focus and fine tune. It's kind of like the difference between like the Remarkable tablets that don't have apps and an iPad, right? Like the Remarkable is more expensive with less features, but when you're on it, you don't get messages, you don't get phone calls, you're just doing what you're doing. So that was a really, really big factor. But I would say, yeah, use the community as much as possible. Also share any limitations. They're still working on that bug, which is driving me insane, but it's probably like a Mercury retrograde thing. And if it doesn't change, I'll probably be shifting the platform to Kajabi due to some other limitations, but that's probably further down the road unless some speed bumps come in. But also, like, let me know if stuff isn't working on with me, because I literally am just building it and doing what makes sense on my side. And the more feedback I get, the more I can kind of fine tune it all. Cool with everybody.
Sure. I want to get logistical about the trades. Like, I think we need to say, like,
I have
whether
to go,
I'm running
though.
point on it or you're running point on it, Chris, or if people are opting out. But I'd love to just get, like, specific about. Oh, sorry. Did Callie say she has to go?
Yeah, she has to go.
But I would just like to make sure it isn't something that we just say and then there's no action taken.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's a way we can see, maybe people's contact information is already in there. I haven't noticed it, but I haven't dug for it either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys what would make you comfortable. I can be very pushy, so so for people who are less pushy than me, what makes you comfortable?
I know what you're saying too, because I feel like after plant medicine ceremonies and stuff, like people will essentially be like, "We'll partner up," and then you're playing with the wounds of anxious and avoidant, and then nothing happens. So, I think a solution I have for that might be a challenge, to kind of pull stuff together. It might also, I mean, that's a part of the accountability, right? Like if you got an accountability partner, it's like half of it is kind of like it feeds into that people pleasing of like, we'll do stuff for other people first. And that's what accountability buddies or essentially accountability buddies are like, hey, I know we agreed to this, but I'm not hearing from you. And it's kind of like pushing them a little bit. And it's like, but it's also like understanding, like reading them, like where's the resistance and how can I be compassionate and empathetic to kind of like slide in behind it and give them a little nudge instead of like really dragging them down the hallway, like, come on, you know? So I think a lot of that, Kaylee, just kind of lies within the group and like finding somebody that you can really account on and that aligns with you as well.
So, ladies, I'm actually asking you, like, do you want me, like, would it be like put a post in there and say, hey, whoever's interested, put your phone name and phone number here, or is there a different approach that feels comfortable with you? Because it seemed like a couple of you guys were interested, so I'm wondering what your thoughts are on how to approach it.
Well, Kaylee, are we still, we're friends on Instagram, right?
Yeah, but you may be the only one whose contact I do have.
Okay, so
Actually, I
yeah,
have your Insta.
if you want to contact me about anything, you can do it through the With Me or just through that, and I'll share my number with you too. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, same here. I don't know. And Kaylee, I wrote your information down so I can look you up on social. Are you under Kaylee Wood?
Yeah.
Okay, but then you can always, we can reach out to each other on With Me as well.
Yeah, just whatever.
Oh, just like we can send direct messages there as well.
I don't know if it has direct messages.
In like the question and answer
Mhm.
part, you can just pose
Yeah.
that, and then those of us that answer, you could ask for our whatever.
Okay, yeah, because I'm comfortable with sharing my phone number with everyone in the group, so I'll just post it there.
Yeah, that would be great. And then we can connect that way too.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Next, I want to hit a monthly challenge. So a big thing I've learned lately was, well, I did this in my first community. I was like challenges, and then they're awesome. Like it's cool to like go through the struggles with the group a little bit. So what I wanted to gauge it on, it sounds like everybody has built, is procrastination an issue for the group, or is it more based on like the fear of putting yourself out there and perfectionism and just overthinking it all? Does that seem to be more of the problem than
I think for me, it's kind of like not knowing what to put out there sometimes, a lot of times, because what I do, I can't really show people because it's kind of private and personal to the individual. And like, I guess I just don't know how to advertise it all the time and how often to. But I'm kind of figuring it out. So I don't know. It might intuitively flow.
okay?
Things have started doing that. So I don't know.
And
I think it is just like, also I work all day and then I come home and I just want to, I cook dinner and I'm doing all these things. So it's like, I got to make time for it.
Yep, 100%. Anybody else got anything to that?
Well, I like what Kaylee was saying as well, because I'm a responder, right? Like I wait for the invitation, then I do really well if I have something to respond to.
Perfect.
And I'm finding that like it took me a while to really understand what that meant. That responding didn't mean speaking up in every conversation. Responding meant what lights my fire and responding to it. And so when I do it from that place, I just notice the difference in my body. It's like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter. Let me just do it. I'm going to give a really quick example. So I was on the phone with a friend today. She's like, Lori, what do you know about breath of fire? Well, I know a lot about it. And so she's like, I'm just going to jump on YouTube and find a video. And I didn't tell her I was going to do this, but what I did is I created a 2-minute video showing her Breath of Fire. And I was like, shit, I can do this in the real world.
No.
But it's because she was asking me for something. And I was like, this is kind of exciting. I get to do this. So that's an example of, I guess,
Perfect.
how I don't want to say comfortable because it wasn't comfortable for me. You know, but yet I was
Yeah.
able to do it. So
So you need prompting.
I
Same
need
thing.
prompting. Yes, there we
I
go.
think I'm kind of that way too,
Yeah,
though.
no, you are.
If I
You're.
kept talking, you would pick up on what I need.
Yeah. Allison and I are both projectors too. So like, I know if people don't ask, I don't tell them. And it's like, I'm
Exactly.
in my head like, please ask. And sometimes I'll even like create my own invite and be like, do you want to know? I have the
Yeah.
answer. And they're like, yes. Or I'll send voice memos and be like, don't listen past here if you don't want the advice. It'll trigger you, but if you're open to it, it'll help you.
Yes,
You know?
I like that.
Well, Laura, I dig the boldness because you could have found somebody else's video, but you're like, no, I'm making my own. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and you know, Kaylee, it's funny you say that because that's where I started, and I was like, shit, I can. No, let me do this, and so yeah.
Super
It's
cool.
funny how our friends or family can sometimes like show us what we need to see and our own potential.
Yeah.
Because I had that same thing. Like I was having some blocks with like creating more of my jewelry stuff. And then my sister's birthday was just last weekend, or it was Monday. And we're celebrating this weekend. And I've made her a couple of things and it kind of just jump started my creative flow. And it was like, oh, okay. When I have like some sort of meaning behind it, it kind of just flows.
Yep, for sure. And that's what I want to like add this challenge in. The challenges I think are really good because it gives you that push, right? And it's like essentially what I'm seeing for a challenge is I think start off with a week challenge and then as the months progress, go to 2 because my theory here is the cold plunge is what I use is like in yoga, I teach to find the balance between effort and ease and microdose discomfort. Because if you jump in the cold plunge on the first try and are like 5 minutes and you're not used to it, you create more trauma that's going to create more resistance than slowly getting in for 30 seconds, then 45, then an hour. So what I've been sitting on is a couple challenges I want to introduce, but I think based on where everybody's at, I think the best challenge for this month to do for a week would just be a 7-day content challenge. You have to post for 7 days in a row because you're going to see how the algorithm starts to throw you up in it. And it doesn't have to be perfect post, like that whole perfectionism. And I don't want you guys just to like post stuff to post it, but put some intention behind it. You know, like a lot of times you can share, and I can create prompts for these of stuff that you'll want to share, but it's like, tell people like how you got into what you're doing, why you're interested, why you love it. A big thing in creating social media posts is to create 3 value-based posts to 1 sell. And even when you scroll on Instagram or Facebook, you'll see a couple posts and then you'll see an ad. And it's like the kind of behind the door recipe of like how to put stuff out there. But essentially with the pressure of posting every day for 7 days is you got the pressure of the time, which brings in Parkinson law, which is like, I have X amount of time, I'll complete it in X amount of time. But it also gives you that incentive to be like, all right, like, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Like it can be as simple as a picture of you with a caption, you know, or it can be like talking to the camera and just share your journey, share your story. It's crazy how some of that content outperforms the flashy marketing stuff that everybody else uses because it's so authentic, and authenticity is the highest vibration above love. And it's really just putting stuff out there, being authentic and sharing it with people in a way that they can start to understand.
Chris, I really like the idea of prompting us to use our voice. I feel like that's where I've felt most rejected in the last couple of years and where I shut myself down for a little bit because I was feeling a lack of curiosity from others. Or also I realized one of my limiting beliefs was my ick around salespeople. I'm like, I don't want to be someone that gives me the ick, you know? And so like figuring out how do you get out there what you're offering while not being gross sales.
Yep. And I would say like even before this year, Kaylee, to even like piggyback on that a little bit, it's like I was so just like in the marketing model of like, you know, selling, and there's tricks you can do, like what and how unwind the subconscious so that it leads people to an answer. But it's like what I've learned this past month and a half is just like share your story, share the valuable or the raw stuff that you really don't want to share and you're afraid to, because that allows somebody else to start sharing. It creates emotional connection. And the more of that scary stuff without getting too cringe on putting it out there and doing it in like a very motivating way, instead of being a victim, be the hero, can open so many freaking doors. Like, Lori, I've never heard how you found breath work. You know, Allison, I've never figured out how you started playing sound bowls. Like, even just introducing that, like, you know, I never thought today I'd be talking about sound bowls, but 2 years ago, this experience changed my life. And that's what I want to share with you by having your first sound bowl session. You see how you can kind of like use that story and then mold it into a sales? Because I think Kaylee said it too, was like, you got to look at the perspective of your customers. A lot of us are like, you know, when I had this meeting with a mentor before I launched Weekender, and it was like, I was like one-on-one calls to community, like naming all the stuff. And he goes, but what is it behind it? And then it was like, oh, it's what I've been missing in all my stuff. Emotional connection. Like, okay, what is this? Like, it's coming together. It's understanding that you can be vulnerable. It's like sharing to recreate those pathways. Like, those are the emotional connecting pieces behind the doors of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know? So it's like really just trying to figure out, and it's that push of like, I got to post today. Shoot, my perfectionist brain, I'm on take 20. Okay, screw it. Let's just turn on the camera and talk. And I for this, I want to do basic rules, because in the community we did something similar and it worked really well. And I'll post the rules. I figured we could start this Friday or Monday after this weekend. So starting next week is what I was planning on. Monday, 7 days. And then out of all the stuff, I was going to do a random generator and give one person who wins it a one-on-one consulting call as like a prize. I thought that would be a really cool prize. How's everybody feeling? What would you need information wise for this? Like just prompts. It sounds like prompts from Lori.
Yeah, and I like the challenge of sharing our origin story. I think that's a good one. And I recently did a presentation for an agility business group, and I learned from the feedback. I already knew storytelling was powerful, but literally, like, I had chose to take out a story to give them more time to work together interactively. And they were like, not only did I want that story, but I wanted another story to carry it together. Like, they were all like, the stories were the best part.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I think that's a helpful way of switching my brain to think, oh, I'm not selling, I'm telling stories.
Yep. No, 100%. And if you get in that mindset too, I'll even share this with you guys on this call, is like, there's this trick, and the best YouTubers, if you watch 2 YouTube videos, you could watch identical videos, and one you would connect with, one you wouldn't. And it's like the people who are performing for the camera, you don't connect with. The people who are looking at the camera and picturing it as the person they're talking to in a conversation endlessly hook you every time. And that's like the unsaid rule is sometimes you say you instead of I. So instead of like, you know, I was, you know, I really love sound bowls. I'll use sound bowls because it's so, I played them today, but it's like, I really love sound bowls. They really make me feel, you know, peaceful, and they shut off my mind. And what you can do is flip, like, you know, like, have you ever tried sound bowls? Like, you would probably really love them. And you tell the story, instead of I, you change it to you, but you're talking to the camera like it's a person, and just literally talking, like having a conversation with it. So it takes a little imagination, but those really tend to connect with people. And it's kind of like the conversational style content that's kind of like taken off right now on YouTube and stuff.
Oh, cool.
You could also do like channeled messages or post photos of like your first time ever doing something, you know. And I have a document that I think has like 30 ideas, because originally when I was building this a few months ago, I was like, let's do a 30-day challenge. And I was like, that would drive me insane too. And we did, we'll have to do it in this group too, but we'll do a dopamine detox at some point. Whenever we all start procrastinating a little bit, I got this. It's so cool. It's such a good reset too. If anybody ever wants to do it as like a side challenge with me, let me know, because it will just like show you where you're getting all your dopamine hits that create the procrastination and what you need to be doing. And it stacks stuff in a really cool way. Like maybe that'd be a good one next month, because it's just like, it's such a good one to use. But I feel like it's called a dopamine detox. I'll give you the rules real quick. Is like no processed food, no no vices, so like no coffee, no nicotine, no weed, none of that. But essentially what you do is you get a habit while you work. So you can have nicotine, you can have coffee, and you can have music while you work. And what it does is those are all really big dopamine hits that we get that we're so used to. But when you start working, you almost want to work because you want the dopamine. And then when you sit down in it, it's so much fun because you're like just lit up and it's like you took an Adderall and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is fun. And then you realize you procrastinate work because you're getting a dopamine hit from the music that you're listening to. You're getting it from like the coffee that you drink before work to procrastinate. You get it from all these little like BS stuff and even like processed foods. And then you also learn that essentially that stuff you're using as medicine to soothe essentially what you keep self-sabotaging yourself on and that you're maybe not aware of it. Because when I did it for 30 days, like normally I'll smoke some weed before I go to bed or something. And I was like, oh my God, like every time I go to grab for it, I'd be like, why am I grabbing for it? And I'm like, because I said I'd do something that I didn't want to do. And I was people pleasing. And it was easier to people please than it was to like speak up for myself. But now I'm realizing that I smoked weed to soothe myself because I'm not speaking up for myself. And I need to speak up for myself. Dang. And it was just like a smack in the face. But it was like, wow, I would have never realized any of this. Or I was like procrastinating work because I was drinking a coffee first thing in the morning. I would literally do all this stuff to procrastinate work that was pulling me or giving me dopamine hits versus getting my work done, which is a massive hit, you know? So, well, we can play with that one. That one I'd like to do for a couple weeks because we did it for 30 days when I did it. And oh, it was awful, but it was so good. But I think 2 weeks is like the sweet spot for that one because you really start getting through the cravings and you're like, I know exactly why I do that. And then it's fun to taper off. So maybe we can do, that's what I think, content this month, and I'll create a itinerary, or I'll create prompts for you guys because it really does help. And then if you get stuck, like what I did in my challenge was just like, screw it, I'm gonna post a picture and tell a story today. But to be able to win the prize, for anybody watching the recording too, there will be a set list of rules. It'll be like, half of them you need to have your face visible, half of them need to be talking to camera, and then one has to be experimental, which can be anything that you haven't done before. And even like Lori, I'm gonna look from you. I can see it's like experimental could be like, try this breath or try this one. Because when I did it, the experimental, I was like, what am I gonna do? And to like Allison was talking earlier, was as soon as I had that pressure, I came up with this idea and was like, would you rather go here or here? It was really simple and I could use all my travel footage, but my travel views went up from something that I was scraping like 500 views, went to 1,000 consistently, because now it was like, do you want to go here? Creates a hook that you got to wait for something else. And it made people watch both videos longer. So, and it helped create a new way to create content for me as well. So just some ideas there. But we're almost done. Today, the intros and everybody talking took a lot longer, but I loved hearing it all. So I didn't want to shut that down. We're gonna have a workshop. I'm planning this thing in 2 weeks, and excuse my last minuteness on all this. As soon as we launched the community, work blew up, and I was like, oh boy, the juggling act begins. But what we're gonna do is on, let's see, it would be July 24th. So next Thursday, or 2 Thursdays, I want to do a call the second Thursday, and then a workshop or event the fourth Thursday. And this one coming up will be it will be at 7 p.m. So same time as this. I'm pretty much going to lock in that time. I think it's pretty good. If anything, we might scoot a little bit earlier to 6:30, just to have more time if they're longer. But this workshop I want to do with my friend I met in Bali. His name's David. And ironically, him and I were the only guys at this Bali retreat. And we were like, he's a mindset coach. I'm like kind of like intuitive healer, can tap into energy. But it was so cool. David and I were roommates. And as soon as I met him, I was like, and he's from Australia. He's super cool. He's got the accent. He's awesome. But I met him and he's like, hey, mate, you know, you're going to be in the roomies. And then ended up meeting him, talking to him, love this guy. And then we would essentially have conversations with the same people at different angles and times unprompted, which was really cool. And as I've been building stuff with Weekender, and ever since then, I've talked to David, and just his ability to hold space and validate what you're feeling and shift your perspective is incredible. And I think everybody here, based on what I heard on the introduction, kind of had a feeling it's like we all know what we're doing and we're so good at it, but maybe we just need to flip that switch to self-confidence, self-worth, and really just honor the exercises that he wants to do. Because I hit him up and he's like, I got an exercise I want to lead you through. And I was like, great, this already feels like it. And it was a tapping, but it also had to do with emotional code and understanding, like, a lot of us, we don't put ourselves out there because one time in our life, we felt really called to be vulnerable and got ran over by a bus and everybody was laughing at us. And because of that one moment, we still don't do it. So really just sinking in and trying to just honor that space of, like, it is safe to put ourselves out there. If people reject us, it's not that they're rejecting us. We're the keepers of the vision, and we just need to figure out different ways to share it that they're more receptive to by still holding our authenticity. So that's the plan for that. And what I told David too was I was like, and make sure, challenge away. What's the challenge?
I'm just like encouraging you to give us challenges.
Yeah. Well, and I was gonna, so the last thing on this workshop, it's so, like, I literally sat down with David and did it, and it was awesome. Something that I wanted to do was, I didn't plan this early for Weekender stuff, but I thought it would be good if we did a donation event towards him. So whether you feel called or not, I just thought that would be good, because I want to calibrate it to see if it's something that we want to maybe work in David consistently on, if this is something we invite him into this stuff on, or if it's something that we kind of hit him maybe every few months or so. You know, that was because David he works with entrepreneurs at a really high ticket. So that's where I was like, I didn't want to undercut him, but it was such a good value. I was like, would you be willing to do it for a donation base? And then, I mean, honestly, nobody has to donate. I'm just curious, like, what the donations would be and such, so it can help David scale how much to charge for these costs as well. And then the other thing would be, we would want to record it, because I told David it'd be a really good video for him to showcase what he does, and then also have the social proof. So if somebody didn't want to visibly be on video, what I would say is, you know, like, cut your camera if you want to be a part of it, because it is awesome. And David's kind of helping us all out. So that's why I want to return it to him, because I know with my life and stuff, if it's not balanced, it'll fall apart. And if it falls apart, it wasn't balanced on my end or somebody else's end. So I'm really big on symbiotic relationships, because it's all about give and take. Does that resonate well with everybody? Cool. Perfect. Okay. Well, I'll follow up with David because we got a couple calls set up for it anyway. So I was like, let's go, but I'll introduce it tonight. And then, are you guys pretty saturated? Everybody feeling pretty? Yeah, I figured as much. So I got one more big thing. If we can we finish one more thing? This is fun. So I was talking to my buddy Brady on the trip. And initially, I got to be vulnerable and share this too. Is like, and get ready for it. If you're starting a community and stuff, like, I swear you guys will go through it too. But I thought the Weekender, I was attracting people who are more creative entrepreneurs. I was like, you know, you attract what you are. And then a bunch of spiritual women in business showed up. And I was like, okay, this is dope. But then I was like, you know, the trip I originally planned with Brady, I don't know if it quite fits this group. So what we were going to do originally was do, like, backpacking in the mountains of Colorado. And I mean, like, backpacking. And when Brady sent me this list, I was kind of like, I feel like it's a no. So I wanted to double check with the group. But essentially it would be like literally with a backpack with your tent and a bunch of stuff in it. And I mean, I can send you guys a list. Kind of what I felt was shifting to more of what Brady, he's a Coloradan guy from Kansas though, but what he calls car camping. So that would essentially be your typical, that's your typical camping to a Coloradan. So that would be like, essentially it's 3 to 4 hours outside of Denver. We'd be doing like a shrimp broil. Brady and I would be cooking all the food. He's also from Colorado, so we could go to some really cool spots that are kind of off the Rocky Mountain National Park grid. It would be like get there, start camping on Friday. Saturday would be like a lake day, a hike day, and then go to an old mining town, which you said has like really good pie and kind of like Estes Park in a little bit if you go down into the city. But then up, it was, what did he call it? It was like Mirror Lake, Cumberland Pass, Mirror Lake, were just some of the ones that you can Google. But that's what we were kind of like that resonated more with me when he was saying that one, because a problem I didn't expect was launching Weekender in July. I wanted to launch it in June. So we had already kind of been planning this stuff, but it got pushed back. And then launching on a Tuesday, the holiday on the Friday, like time's chipping away. So what we planned on this was August 22nd through the 24th. And that's where I was curious to kind of feel how everybody felt about that. Just on the dates in general, because it is pretty soon. That's less than, I mean, that's like a month and 2 weeks away. And then maybe this will open the door to like the other alteration is Brady and I have been planning these for a minute too, would be Telluride, Colorado in the fall is one that we're really wanting to do, because Telluride is like, it's 7 hours like west of Denver essentially. But in the fall, it's one of the most beautiful spots in the US. So that's where Brady knows it really well. And we were kind of thinking about doing like car camping for that one in Telluride, which has like, I mean, Telluride's like a really cool kind of like, it's not so touristy, but it has a lot of like gondolas, lakes, mountains, hiking. It kind of has like all the fun at the end of the fall, which would be kind of fun.
I have a friend who bought a house there, so that one interests me the most.
Okay.
And also, I don't like camping,
Mhm.
so I was like, I can't say I'm excited about any camping things.
And that's something that I was like kind of like in consideration of earlier. It was like, here's what I was putting out and thought I'd attract, but here's what attracted. So then it's like the pivot of like, how can we make this work and accommodate stuff too? So and that's where I was like, I told Brady, I was like, I don't think the backpacking's gonna work with this group, but I was like, that's something that him and I can do. But I was like, I wanted to throw the Taylor Park idea out, and then the Telluride, because honestly, like from the planning side, this is something that I want to do with this. But as I mentioned, planning is very difficult for me, and I'm working through that. But also, I got Brady on my back. But it seems like the fall would give us enough time to really set in what everybody wanted to do. Because what Brady and I planned on doing for these and for the trips is like trying to, for instance, like for this trip to Colorado, what I planned on was like $300 a person, essentially to get food, gas, and pretty much time and the energy to set up and do all the planning and stuff. So that it would be like, and the idea is to make it a smaller ticket, but allow everybody to kind of like, it's kind of like you're a weekend away and we're just the coordinators of it, and let's go have some fun.
I'm not familiar with car camping. Does that mean we'd fly but then rent cars, or?
So car camping to a Colorado is essentially what we normally do as camping. So it's where you drive and then you have your tent set up when you're on a campsite. So in Colorado, like backpacking to me was like, let's just go walk and have stuff. And he's like, oh, no. Like, it's like, you got to have your portable stove. You got to have a tent. Like, it's essentially, car camping is how you camp at the lake here in Kansas or Missouri. So it's just like, it's not glamping, but it's not bare bones out hiking the mountains and carrying 2,000 pounds worth of stuff.
Well, I thought you meant sleep in your car, and I was like, that sounds horrible.
That's what I did too. But he's
But
like,
you can do that. You can do that.
yeah, but it would essentially
I'm a glamper.
Yeah, no, me too. Believe me, I'm a luxury guy. And then Brady and I have considered like earlier in the year doing stuff like Strawberry Springs in Colorado. It's just like beautiful resort with hot springs everywhere. Obviously, it's not hot spring season, but even like that's something that we can consider too with this group, because that's where I was kind of like, is camping too much? Do we need to go more like maybe resorts or lodges? And with resorts and lodges, it'll take time and it'll probably be a little bit higher. But if we're taking a group and we know how many people are going, we can get a better deal at the spot we go to, and we can also get it ahead of time and plan it.
And maybe I'm thinking too small, but I'd even like a local lodge, just a chance to spend time together and not have to deal with the logistics if we're not going to even see, because I'm more focused on getting to know you guys than I am
Mhm.
on sightseeing.
Yep. Well, and that's the idea, is like mixing a little bit of like sightseeing with getting away, breaking the loop, being around people, but also like something that I'm really considerate about here is like I love group travel. I also like spending time alone, and I've been to some really cool spots like Turks and Caicos and Bali. It happened, and it's like I'm stuck with the group, and I'm like, but I want to do this, and it's like honoring that I think is important, and that's something that I built this with, was like, how can I make an experience that is individual and collaborative, but you can go either way that you want to? Because I think there's always spots for collaboration on group travel and time to get away. But obviously on this one, I'd be like more facilitating and be like, how can I help you all have a better experience and whatnot? But that's a big part of like the balancing of all this, is like, how can we make it an individual but collaborative experience, so that, if people need that space, they can get it and don't feel like I have on trips where it's been like, oh gosh, I got to go to here even though I don't want to. Or like in Bali, I had to escape like right at the retreat was over, but they kind of got mad at me because I was like, hey, I want to go to Ubud a day early because we've been on this retreat for 8 days and I feel like an animal in the zoo. I'm in Bali and I'm a filmmaker and I'm stuck on the same property. And Ubud's 2 hours away and I can get an Airbnb for $60. So David and I actually left a day early and somebody else came with us. And we had the perfect day, and I got to go to the rice fields. And if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have made it to the rice fields. Like, can you believe people went to Bali and didn't go to the rice fields? Like, so
Yeah.
so that's a big part. I just wanted to throw that all out there. So are we feeling more fall? Push it back a little bit. That's kind of what I was feeling with the call with Brady today. But
Yeah.
I think that would give us time, because we'd have to get a van. Essentially what I thought is, since everybody's in KC, we could carpool, probably 2 cars out there, get a van when we're out there to drive out to Telluride, and then, obviously bring it back, and that'd be like an 8-passenger van. But it'd give us time to, like, number one, maybe if some of us need to save up for it or put some money aside every month for the next couple of months, we could. It could give us time to plan and really fine tune an experience for everybody, because I'd love to get everybody together in the same space. And then also have a little bit of a trip experience. Like, that's the whole reason why I started this, is like, how can we blend business building with trips and retreats and all that fun stuff? So perfect.
Yeah.
I'll mark down Telluride then.
Oh yeah. I'll tell my friend. Yay.
Yeah, perfect. No, that would be, yeah. Or even see if we can borrow. Does she have a house that we could rent?
She's pretty wealthy, actually. Maybe that might be a good option.
Yeah. No, as soon as you said that, I was like, tell me more. So
Yeah. Give me some dates and we'll see what I can work out.
perfect. Okay. And I'll have to, so I'm going to link back to Brady after this call and essentially figure out when the window is for Telluride in the fall, because I know Colorado is way different from here. And the more I try to figure it out, the further off I am. So
I was gonna say you'll get there and the roads will be closed because of snow.
Yep. And luckily, like I said, he lives in Arvada, so at least he can keep attuned to like what's happening out there if something like that does happen. But that time of the year, we should be good as long as we catch the edge of fall and not too late.
And not too late. Yeah, for sure.
Cool beans. All right. Last thing is.
And Chris, I'm glad that you're going to be recording that on the 24th, because I will not be able to make that. So
Yeah, and that's what I was going to apologize for too. Is sorry for the later dates. After I launched it, I was like, we got a whole day of work. So essentially, I'm playing catch up. But for the next month's forward, the 2nd Thursday will be the call. The 4th Thursday will be a workshop. And what I'm planning after this one. So David is this month. And then next month, I was thinking about doing, like, either we could do a workshop where I can teach brand guidelines, content creation, if there's something specialized that would really help the group, or is it more of just getting together, bring your laptop, work, and just like co-work? Like, for instance, Lori had website questions. It seems like Kaylee's really good with websites. And if maybe Allison needs to work on content, then we can break out and kind of do little pods or groups. But find a spot to facilitate it at, whether it be here at my apartment building. I have some pretty cool co-working spaces here that we can rent out, and then or we just meet at somebody's house or something. But I thought it would be cool to do like a workshop and then bring something physical for sure, so that we're not always digitally in meetings and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. Perfect. And that's what a lot of this stuff too is just feedback from everybody, because it's like I can have my own ideas, but also like I want to know what would help everybody here. But it seems like content challenge that we're going to start Mondays would be really good. I'll create prompts and I'll post that to the community forum with like just the basic rules, because essentially in order to win, you're going to have to do the 3 things, and then I'll go back through and watch everybody's content, but then I'll just put it on a random wheel to see who wins it. Or the other option I was thinking of, a couple of my friends are in marketing and branding, so maybe being like, hey, go through each one and let's see if there's one that stands out. But I don't really want to make it about winners and losers. I'd rather just do like a random generator so that I can be like, all right, everybody kicked butt, but who's the lucky one who gets the prize this time? I think that makes it really fun, because I'd hate to do a 7-day content challenge and somebody crush it and they don't win, and then it's like we just beat all the momentum that we just tried to create here, you know. So cool. Well, any questions? Anybody got anything burning on them? I think we kind of like covered everything through conversation really well. So thank you everybody so much for being here. This was dope. And then next week I'll show you the last thing was the workbook. Matt and I are working on the workbook. We're trying to make it so that you can type into it. It's going to be a PDF, but essentially it takes you, and I can show you guys a quick screen share of it if you want. I know I'm the king of just one more thing, but essentially it's like 27 pages, and the first thing would be clarity, and we'll ask you all the questions from the customer's perspective and stuff. So it essentially gets you in the mindset that you can go through this, answer questions if you get stuck. It'll help you understand what you're trying to get clear on. And then the goal is that you can drop it into ChatGPT or AI whenever you're done, and AI will give you a really good analysis of like who your target market is, how you should speak to them. So essentially it pulls everything in branding together by simply going through it. Does that
I
make
like
sense?
a clarity exercise.
Yeah,
I like
perfect.
that.
And I was going to say, so I have the workbook. It doesn't have the PDF stuff on it. Here, let me just screen share this real quick, because this is one of the key tools I want to get out to you, but unfortunately, this is something that's out of my hands. As much as I hate that, I'm like, but it's something that whoever's completing it got a little busy. So, can you guys see this?
Yeah, but it looks small.
It's small. I was gonna say, I don't know if I can change that.
Maybe I can just clear our faces.
I was gonna say it's huge on my screen.
Yeah, it's just making room on the screen.
Are you guys able to see it or not so much?
Mm-hmm.
You guys can see it? Okay. So essentially what it is you have to clarify, build, launch, grow, and scale. No matter where you're at, you should be able just to jump into this. But essentially it's going to be where you can click in these boxes, and that's what we're working on finalizing. I got to figure it out in Acrobat, but essentially it's just like helps you identify all these different aspects of your business so that when you finish this part, and it even has like this customer avatar. But essentially the idea is that it's just a workbook you can go through at your own speed at different elements, and it's going to ask all the questions that you might not be thinking about or thinking about from that perspective, so that we can essentially get everybody working kind of on that independent flow, but then also as like, hey, this part of the workbook doesn't make sense. That's kind of what I'm looking for too, is like feedback on that workbook and how to really fine tune it, because I think everything in Basecamp is awesome, but some of the stuff you might not know to look for because you haven't got through those questions haven't popped up, or you haven't got to that part in your experience yet. So, but I definitely want to, or we might even share this on the next group call, because it should be done by then. But essentially, if you guys are burning for the questions and you want an early version, I can send that to you or post it. But we'll have the one where you can type in it and then drop it into AI would be the benefit of that one. Unless if you have a Mac on preview, it allows you to type in the boxes as well.
Well, since I'm starting a new job at the beginning of August, I might want to start working on it earlier.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I don't know my brain will have much capacity for much in August when I'm starting a new job.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Mercury's staging retrograde, which is a really good time to capture information instead of act on it. So that's where I'm kind of pushing my buddy Matt to finish this thing, because I'm like, I know he's busy, but I'm also like, I gotta get this to y'all, because it'll it'll be a game changer on just opening doors of like, I never thought about that. Or isn't that cool how what we procrastinate and what we do in our free time kind of overlap for our purpose, you know, like just hidden stuff like that. So Kaylee, yeah, I can definitely send it to you. But before I post it in Lori, okay.
Yes,
Perfect.
please.
And then anybody watching this recorded call, or I'll just I'll probably put up a thread too for everybody else, but I just want to be able to get it out so that when we get a version that you can type in, people can just transfer stuff over to it. But I don't want to delay it too long. I'd rather just give y'all something, and then when we have it, just switch it out. So,
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, perfect. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yeah,
I don't
thank
have any
you.
more. I'm
Nice to
excited.
meet you.
Yeah, thank you everybody who showed up and shared. So then, yeah, anything you need me to add or questions to come up, Q&A thread ends tomorrow. So if you got any questions if this call's sparking, drop it in there, because this weekend I'm going to film a YouTube video and then I'll post it on Sunday. This weekend's a little crazy, so it might be Monday, but then the next Q&A thread will pop up next week. Drop your questions in. I just want to use that as a source to continually answer stuff. Cool. All right. Well, y'all have a good night. Thank you so much, and peace out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna make sure. Oh, you're still here.
Hey, hey, Chris, when we get a moment, you get a moment, can we like put it on the calendar to do that?